I had only 3 weeks to get married, or I would lose the company my father left me. Then I met Maya. She agreed to marry me for money, and within 24 hours she had broken 17 out of my 20 rules. When I confronted her, she looked me straight in the face and said, "At least I passed 3. Then she took my favorite Ferrari and crashed it. But that wasn't even the beginning of my problems. My stepmother started watching Maya. Then she brought evidence to expose our marriage in front of the entire family. I thought I had lost the company. I thought Maya was going to leave me. But then the lawyer opened my father's final clause, and everything changed. Follow me and see how all of this happened. 3 weeks. That was all the time I had left before my 30th birthday. 3 weeks before I either became the CEO of Sterling Global or watched my father's company slip out of my hands. And the woman I eventually married was the last woman on earth I expected to meet. Actually, the first time I met Maya, she told me to get lost. I should have listened. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Alex Sterling. I'm the only son of Richard Sterling, the founder of Sterling Global. For most of my life, I thought being his only son meant the company would automatically become mine. I was wrong. My father had left one final condition in his will. I had to be married before my 30th birthday. If I wasn't, the company would pass to my stepsister Victoria, and my stepmother Evelyn would remain in control. My father didn't think I was incapable of running the company. He simply didn't trust me with responsibility, especially when it came to women. Apparently, my reputation for enjoying the single life was enough to make my father question whether I was ready to lead an empire. And honestly, he wasn't completely wrong. But I had no intention of getting married just because a piece of paper told me to. Until I met Maya. I first saw her at a hotel restaurant after one of the worst meetings of my life. I was angry. She was carrying a tray, and somehow, in less than 30 seconds, she managed to make my day even worse. I complained about the service. Maya looked at me and said, "Maybe the problem isn't the service." I stared at her. "What did you say?" I asked. She shrugged and replied, "I said maybe you're the problem." Nobody talked to me like that. Nobody. I asked her if she knew who I was. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "No." Then she walked away. I should have been offended. Instead, I laughed. That was my first mistake. My second mistake was asking her to marry me. She actually thought I was joking. Then I explained everything. The will, the deadline, the company, the money. She listened quietly. Then Maya looked at me and asked, "So let me understand this. You're rich, you're almost 30, and your biggest problem is that nobody wants to marry you?" I sighed and replied, "When you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous." "It is ridiculous," she said. Then she walked away again. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. After several arguments, negotiations, and one conversation where she called me the most emotionally constipated rich man she'd ever met, Maya finally agreed. There was just one condition. We would have rules. I handed her the contract. 20 rules. No unnecessary spending. No entering my private office. No driving my cars. No touching my personal belongings. No embarrassing me in public. And absolutely no pretending this marriage was real. Maya read the first page, then the second. Then she looked at me and said, 20 rules? 20, I replied. She nodded and said, fine. I should have known that smile meant trouble. The next morning, I woke up to a phone call. It was my assistant. His voice sounded nervous. "Mr. Sterling, there's been an accident." I sat up immediately. "What happened?" I asked. He hesitated before saying, "Your Ferrari was involved in an accident." I was instantly awake. "My Ferrari?" I asked. "The red one," he replied. "The one my father had given me for my 25th birthday. My favorite car." "How bad?" I asked. There was another pause. "Bad enough that it's been towed," he replied. I closed my eyes. Then I asked the question I already knew I didn't want answered. Who was driving it? My assistant went silent for a moment. Then he said, "Mrs. Sterling." I hung up. I found Maya in the kitchen about 20 minutes later. She was drinking coffee like she hadn't just committed vehicular terrorism. I stared at her. "Maya," I said, "my Ferrari." She took another sip of coffee and casually replied, "Oh." I waited. She looked at me and asked, "Is that the red one?" I nearly lost my mind. "Yes, the red one. What happened?" She sighed and said it wasn't entirely my fault. I stared at her. "Not entirely your fault," I repeated. She nodded. "The car was too fast." I blinked. What? The car was too fast, she repeated. I barely touched the accelerator and suddenly everything started happening. Maya, you crashed a Ferrari. I know, she replied, and before you start shouting, I'm fine. I looked her over. You're fine? Yes. Then why didn't you call me? She shrugged. Because I knew you'd care more about the Ferrari. That stopped me. She put down her cup and continued. You didn't even ask if I was scared. You asked about the car. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Maya folded her arms and said, You're selfish, Alex. I am not selfish. You've been talking about that car for 5 minutes. You destroyed it. And I'm standing here alive. She pointed at herself. Maybe you should be happy about that. I stared at her. She stared back. Then she smiled. But don't worry. She took another sip of coffee. I'll pay for part of it. With what? I asked. She pointed toward herself. This, I frowned. What does that mean? She shrugged. I'm your wife now. Surely that's worth something. I couldn't tell whether she was joking. With Maya, I was beginning to realize that was a dangerous question. Then she suddenly smiled. Actually, before you get angry. She raised 3 fingers. I only broke 17 rules. I stared at her. 17? She nodded proudly. I didn't enter your private office. She lowered 1 finger. I didn't touch your personal documents. Another finger went down. And, she paused, I didn't embarrass you in public. I stared at her. You crashed my Ferrari before breakfast. Yes, she replied, but technically I still have 3 rules left, she smiled. I think I deserve a medal. I had been married to Maya for less than 24 hours. She had already broken 17 rules, destroyed one of my favorite cars, insulted my personality, and somehow convinced me that I was the selfish one. And somehow, that wasn't even the biggest problem. Because while I was trying to figure out how to survive 3 weeks with my new wife, my stepmother was already making plans to make sure I never became CEO. And she had no idea that Maya was about to become the biggest problem she had ever faced. The next morning I woke up to find Maya sitting on the edge of my bed. For a second I forgot we were married. Then I remembered the Ferrari. I sat up immediately. What are you doing here? I asked. Maya looked at me with a completely innocent expression. Good morning to you too, husband. You're not supposed to be in my room. I know, she cut in. Then why are you here? I replied. She held up a cup of coffee. I brought you this. I took the cup cautiously. Is this an apology? I asked. Maya shook her head. No, it's coffee. I stared at her. She smiled. I already apologized for the car, she said. You said the car was too fast, I reminded her. And it was, she cut in. I shook my head. Just get out. Maya stood up and walked toward the door. Then she stopped. Oh, and Alex? What? I asked. She looked back at me. You're going to need a new car. Then she walked out. I closed my eyes. I was beginning to understand why my father had been so worried about my future. Not because of women, because apparently one woman was enough to destroy my sanity. But Maya wasn't the only problem. That afternoon, I received a message from Evelyn. Come to my office. We need to talk. I already knew what that meant. Evelyn never said we need to talk unless somebody was about to have a very bad day. When I entered her office, Victoria was already sitting beside her. My stepsister looked up at me with a knowing smile. So this is her? I stopped. Who? I asked. Your wife, Victoria replied. I glanced at Evelyn. How do you already know about Maya? Evelyn folded her hands neatly on the desk. I know everything that happens in this family. I didn't like the way she said it. What do you want? She leaned back in her chair. I want to meet her, she said. Why? I asked. She looked up at me. Because you're getting married for the company. I frowned. No, I'm getting married because my father wanted me to. Evelyn gave me a faint smile. Same thing. I turned toward the door. Then her voice stopped me. Be careful, Alex. I looked back. About what? She held my gaze. Not everyone who agrees to marry you actually wants you. I didn't answer, because for the first time I wondered if she was right. That evening Maya and I had dinner together. She was scrolling through her phone while eating. I watched her for a moment. Maya. She looked up. Yes? I took a breath. Why did you agree to marry me? She put her phone down. You offered me money. That isn't what I mean, I replied. Maya shrugged. You're rich. She paused. And you're desperate. I frowned and shot back. I am not desperate. She raised an eyebrow. You proposed to a woman you met in a restaurant because your birthday is approaching. I sighed. Fine, maybe a little. She smiled, then she added, but there's something else. I looked at her. What? Maya leaned back in her chair. You're not as bad as you pretend to be. Her answer caught me off guard. What makes you think I'm pretending? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Because if you were really as arrogant as you act, she pointed at me, you wouldn't care so much about what your father thought of you. I went quiet. She had noticed. That was something I didn't expect. Maya picked up her phone again. Then, without looking up, she added, Don't look so emotional. That caught me off guard. I wasn't, I replied. You were. I wasn't, I argued. She smiled. Whatever helps you sleep. I laughed despite myself, and that was the first moment I realized something dangerous. I was beginning to enjoy having her around. But while I was getting comfortable with my new wife, someone else was watching her. Maya noticed it first. She was leaving a boutique when she saw the same black SUV parked across the street. She kept walking. The SUV moved. She turned into another street. It followed. She stopped. The SUV stopped too. Maya slowly turned around. A man stepped out. She crossed her arms. You've been following me. The man remained silent for a moment. Maya looked at the SUV, then back at him. If you're trying to kidnap me, you're doing a terrible job. The man finally responded. Mrs. Sterling, my employer would like to speak with you. Maya frowned. Your employer? He nodded. Who? He hesitated, then finally answered, Evelyn Sterling. Maya's expression changed. Not fear, curiosity. She looked at the SUV again, then smiled. Oh. She walked toward it. The man looked surprised. You're coming? Maya opened the door herself. Apparently. She glanced back at him. But if this is a kidnapping, a mischievous smile appeared on her face. I'm charging extra. And that's how my wife ended up being taken to my stepmother's mansion without even bothering to tell me. What Maya didn't know was that Evelyn wasn't inviting her there to talk. She had a number waiting for her. A number so large that Evelyn believed no woman in her right mind could refuse it. And if Maya accepted it, our marriage would be over before it had even begun. When Maya stepped out, she looked around slowly. The marble entrance, the enormous staircase, the chandeliers, the perfectly maintained gardens. She stared for a moment. Wow, Maya said. Then she looked at the man beside her. This place looks expensive. He remained silent. Maya walked toward the entrance. Then she glanced around again. This looks less like a kidnapping, she smiled, and more like a premium kidnapping with interior decoration. The man finally lowered his head, trying not to react. Maya walked inside, and that's when she met Evelyn. My stepmother was sitting in the middle of the living room like she owned the entire world, which, in fairness, she almost did. Evelyn looked at Maya from head to toe. Maya looked around the room, then back at Evelyn. So, Maya began, pointing toward the door behind her. Am I allowed to leave whenever I want? You're free to leave, Evelyn replied. Maya nodded. Good. Then she sat down without being invited. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. You're very comfortable, she observed. You brought me here in a convoy, Maya replied. I assumed you wanted to talk. Evelyn studied her carefully. I've heard quite a lot about you, she said. Maya smiled. Hopefully the interesting things. Evelyn ignored the comment. You married Alex very quickly. That was the plan, Maya replied. And you're being paid, Evelyn added. Maya nodded. Yes. Evelyn leaned forward slightly. How much? Maya smiled. That's between me and my husband. Evelyn's expression hardened. Then she placed a folder on the table. Then perhaps this will change your mind, Evelyn said. Maya opened it. She looked at the number, then looked again. Her eyebrows rose. Wow, Maya said. Evelyn watched her carefully. That is 10 times what Alex offered you. Maya slowly closed the folder. You really want me gone, she replied. I want my family protected, Evelyn answered. Maya smiled. That's a very expensive way of saying it. Evelyn didn't smile. Take the money, she ordered. Maya looked at the folder again, then at Evelyn. What exactly do you want me to do? Leave Alex, Evelyn replied. That's it? That's it. Maya leaned back, and if I don't? Evelyn's voice became colder. Then things become much less pleasant. Maya stared at her for a moment. Then she smiled. Okay. Evelyn looked surprised. Okay? Give me a minute to think about it, Maya replied. Maya picked up her phone. Then, right in front of Evelyn, she called me. I had been sitting in my office for almost 3 hours wondering where she was. She hadn't answered my messages. She hadn't returned my calls, and I was starting to get worried. When my phone finally rang, I answered immediately. "Where are you?" I asked. Maya's voice came through calmly. "I'm at your stepmother's house." I stood up. "What?" "I'm sitting directly opposite her," Maya replied. I stared at my phone. "Why are you at Evelyn's house?" Maya glanced across the room. Then she smiled. "She has a question for me." "What question?" I asked. Maya leaned back comfortably. "She wants to know if I love you." I froze. "What?" "You heard me," Maya replied. She looked directly at Evelyn. Then she asked me, "So, what should I tell her?" For the first time since I had met Maya, I didn't know what to say, because the truth was I had married her for the company. But somewhere along the way, I had started wanting her for myself. Finally, I answered, "Tell her you're still figuring it out." Maya smiled. "Which truth?" she asked. I sighed. "The truth." She looked at Evelyn, then back at the phone. "Well," Maya began. She paused. "He says I'm still figuring it out." Evelyn's expression tightened. "And are you?" Evelyn asked. Maya looked at her. "Maybe." Then she picked up the folder. "But I'm definitely not taking your money," Maya added. Evelyn stared at her. "You understand what you're turning down?" Evelyn asked. Maya smiled. "Yes." She placed the folder back on the table. "That's why I'm turning it down." Then she stood. Evelyn watched her carefully. "You're making a mistake," Evelyn warned. Maya stopped at the door. "Maybe," she replied. She turned around. "But at least it'll be my mistake." Then she walked out. I thought someone like Evelyn would back down after Maya refused an offer like that. I was wrong. What I didn't know was that the moment Maya walked out of that mansion, Evelyn gave her men a very different order. Watch her. Every move, every place she went, every person she spoke to. At the time, I had no idea any of it was happening. I thought Maya had simply turned down a ridiculous amount of money and come home. I didn't know my stepmother had just started watching the woman who was slowly becoming the most important person in my life. 3 days after Maya left Evelyn's mansion, she noticed the same black SUV again. It was parked across the street from a cafe where she had just finished lunch. Maya stopped at the entrance. She looked at the SUV, then looked around the street. The vehicle didn't move. Maya smiled. "So we're doing this again?" she asked herself. She walked toward it. The SUV remained still. Maya reached the rear window and knocked twice. The window slowly rolled down. A man inside looked at her. "Can I help you?" he asked. Maya folded her arms. "That's what I was about to ask you." The man frowned. "Excuse me? Why have you been following me?" Maya asked. He hesitated. "I don't know what you're talking about," he replied. Maya laughed. "Oh, please." She leaned closer to the window. "I've seen this car 3 days in a row." The man opened his mouth to respond. Maya cut him off. "And if you're following me, you're really terrible at your job." The man stared at her. Maya continued, "Because whoever hired you specifically told you not to let me find out." The man looked uncomfortable. Maya smiled. "But I found out." He finally tried to explain. "Mrs. Sterling, I'm only watching me?" Maya finished. The man nodded. "Exactly," he admitted. Maya straightened up. "Then tell your boss something for me." The man waited. Maya smiled. "If she wants to know where I'm going." She pointed toward the cafe. "She can ask me." The man stared at her. Maya turned around, then stopped. "Oh, and one more thing," he looked at her. "If you're going to follow me tomorrow," she smiled, "try a different car." Then she walked away. That afternoon, Maya called me. I answered immediately. "Hey, you have people following me," she said. I sat up. "What? Your stepmother's people," Maya replied. "How do you know?" She laughed. "Because they're terrible at their job." I rubbed my forehead. "What happened?" I walked up to the car and asked them. "You did what?" I asked. I asked why they were following me. I couldn't believe her. "And what did they say?" They tried to deny it. "Of course they did." Maya laughed. "Then I told them if they wanted to know where I was going, they could just ask me." I became quiet. "Maya?" "What? This isn't funny." Her voice softened. "I know." "Then why are you laughing?" "Because if Evelyn wanted to scare me..." She paused. "She picked the wrong woman." I couldn't help smiling, but then she said something that changed the mood completely. "Alex?" "Yeah?" "Why is your stepmother so desperate to get rid of me?" I didn't have an answer, and that bothered me, because I had been asking myself the same question. The following evening, we arrived at the family estate. The entire family was already there. It was my birthday, my 30th birthday, the deadline my father had written into his will. The moment that would determine whether I remained the heir to the company or lost everything my father had built. Maya walked beside me as we entered the dining room. She looked around, then whispered, "Why does this feel like a courtroom?" "Because it probably is," I replied. "Should I have brought a lawyer?" I almost laughed. "Just behave." Maya smiled. "No promises." Everyone took their seats. The family lawyer stood at the end of the table with a sealed folder. He looked directly at me. "Alex, today you turn 30. I nodded. "Yes." He opened the folder. "Your father made his wishes very clear before his death." Evelyn watched silently. The lawyer continued. "You were named the primary heir to the company." Victoria's smile disappeared. "But there was a condition." I already knew what was coming. The lawyer looked directly at me. "You were required to be legally married before your 30th birthday." Maya glanced at me, then whispered, "Technically." She smiled. "You made it." I whispered back, "Please don't make this worse." The lawyer turned another page. "Alex has fulfilled the first requirement," he announced. "He is legally married and therefore eligible to assume control of the company." For the first time that evening, I saw Evelyn's expression change. But before the lawyer could continue, Evelyn leaned forward. "Before you read anything else," she said, "I believe everyone in this room deserves to know exactly what kind of marriage we're talking about." I looked at her. "Evelyn," she ignored me. Then she opened the folder beside her. Inside were photographs, bank transactions, messages, shopping receipts, hotel bookings, everything she had collected. She placed the first photograph on the table. "This is Maya before she married Alex," Evelyn said. She placed another beside it. "And this is the payment Alex made to her." Maya remained completely calm. Evelyn looked around the table. "This was never a marriage built on love." She tapped the documents. "It was a contract." Victoria smiled. Evelyn continued. "She was paid to marry him." I felt my stomach drop, not because I didn't know, because I had never wanted to hear those words spoken in front of everyone. Then Evelyn looked directly at Maya. "Would you like to deny it?" The room became silent. Maya looked at the documents. Then she looked at me. Finally, she turned toward Evelyn. "No." My heart sank. She continued calmly. "You're right. I felt something inside me collapse. The one thing I had been terrified of, the one thing I had prayed Maya would never admit publicly, had just been confirmed." Evelyn smiled. "Thank you." "But Maya wasn't finished. I was paid to marry him," she said. She paused. "But I wasn't paid to fall in love with him." The room went silent. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I looked at Maya. She wasn't looking at the money. She wasn't looking at Evelyn. She was looking at me. And suddenly all the things I had done, all the lies, all the selfish decisions, all the times I'd treated our marriage like a transaction, came crashing down on me. Until that sentence. I wasn't paid to fall in love with him. For the first time that night, I didn't care about the company. I cared about whether I'd already lost the woman sitting beside me. Evelyn quickly recovered. "That changes nothing," she said. She picked up another document. She was paid. She accepted the money. She entered this marriage under false pretenses. Maya opened her mouth, but Evelyn continued. "And if the heir to this company is involved in a fraudulent marriage, then surely—" "Enough." The lawyer's voice cut through the room. Evelyn stopped. The lawyer closed his folder. "You've presented your evidence," he said calmly. Evelyn looked at him. "Exactly. And that evidence proves the marriage was a transaction." The lawyer nodded. "It proves Maya was paid." Evelyn smiled. "Then you understand why Alex cannot inherit the company." The lawyer looked at her. "No." Her smile disappeared. "You don't understand." He reached into his briefcase. "There is another clause in your husband's will." Evelyn stared at him. "What clause?" The lawyer removed a sealed document. "Your husband anticipated that someone might attempt to interfere with Alex's marriage." Evelyn's face changed. The lawyer continued. "He specifically stated that if the acting CEO attempted to sabotage or interfere with Alex's marriage," he looked directly at Evelyn, "that person would immediately lose their authority over the company." Silence. Evelyn stared at him. "That is impossible." The lawyer shook his head. "It's written in your husband's own words." He opened the document. "And according to the evidence you've just presented," he paused, "you have personally attempted to interfere with Alex's marriage." Evelyn's face went pale. The lawyer closed the document. "Therefore, effective immediately." He looked at me. Alex Sterling is the rightful CEO of Sterling Holdings. Nobody moved. Victoria's smile disappeared completely. Evelyn sat frozen in her chair. And I couldn't even celebrate. Because while everyone else was staring at the company I had just inherited, I was staring at Maya. She had just admitted she married me for money. But she had also admitted something far more dangerous. She had fallen in love with me. And now I had one question left. Was she willing to stay, now that she no longer needed my money? For a few seconds after the lawyer finished speaking, nobody moved. Evelyn had lost the company, I had gained it, and somehow the only thing I could think about was Maya. She sat beside me quietly. Then she looked at the table, then at the expensive dinner, then at me. "Well," Maya said calmly, "I suppose congratulations are in order." I smiled faintly and replied, "You're not going to congratulate me?" Maya stood up. She said simply. I frowned. "Why not?" I asked. "Because I'm leaving," Maya replied. That smile disappeared from my face. "What?" I asked. Maya reached for her handbag. "I came here because you paid me to marry you," she explained. "I did what I was supposed to do." She glanced around the room. "You got the company." Then she looked back at me. "I got paid." My chest tightened. "Maya," I said quietly. She stood up fully. "I think we're done," she added. I quickly stood. "Wait," I said. Maya looked at me. "What?" I walked around the table. "You can't just leave," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "Because I started. Then I stopped. For the first time in my life, I didn't know how to negotiate. I couldn't offer her money. I couldn't offer her a contract. I couldn't buy her. So I finally said the only thing I had left. "Because I love you," I admitted. Maya stared at me. She didn't smile. She didn't move. She just looked at me. Then she sighed. "Alex?" Maya said softly. "Yes," I replied. "You're making this very difficult." I gave her a small smile. "I'm trying," I said. "I can see that," Maya replied. She picked up her bag again. I reached for her hand. "Maya, please," I said. She looked down at my hand, then back at me. "You know what your problem is?" she asked. "What?" I replied. "You're still talking like a billionaire," Maya said. I frowned. "What does that even mean?" I asked. Maya stepped closer. "It means you think everything can be fixed by offering something." She pointed at me. "Money." Then she pointed toward the door. "Cars." She looked back at me. "Gifts." Then she added, "Contracts." She shook her head. "But I'm not one of your companies, Alex." "I know," I replied. "Good," Maya said. She started walking toward the door. I followed her. "Maya," I called. She stopped. I looked at her. "I don't want to lose you," I said. She turned around. "Then stop trying to own everything," Maya replied. "I'll try," I promised. She narrowed her eyes. "Try harder," she said. I smiled. "And what happens if I don't?" I asked. Maya pointed at me. "If you ever start acting like some arrogant billionaire again," she paused, "I'll knock you back into reality myself." I laughed. "You're threatening the new CEO?" I asked. Maya smiled. "No," she replied. She opened the door. "I'm threatening my husband." For the first time that night, I laughed without worrying about the company. I walked over and took her hand. "So," I asked, looking at her, "are you staying?" Maya pretended to think about it. "Maybe," she replied. "Maybe," I repeated. She smiled. "But I'm changing the rules." I raised an eyebrow. "What rules?" I asked. Maya stepped closer. "Rule number 1, she said. She paused. "You don't get to pay me to love you." I smiled. "And rule number 2, I asked. Maya leaned toward me. "You don't get to stop me from loving you either," she replied. And that was the moment I finally understood something my father had tried to teach me long before I was ready to listen. A company can be inherited, money can be earned, power can be taken away, but love has to be chosen. Maya didn't stay because I became CEO. She didn't stay because I was rich. She stayed because somewhere between the fake marriage, the ridiculous rules, the crashed Ferrari, and all the chaos, we had become real. From that day forward, I stopped trying to find someone who could fit into my father's idea of the perfect wife. I simply learned how to become the kind of husband Maya deserved. And Maya? Well, she still broke most of my rules, but somehow she became the best decision I ever made. Sometimes the person you think you hired to save your future is actually the person who teaches you what your future is supposed to mean.